Hey guys, welcome to Best Movies Recap. Today we have a 2022 horror movie called The Grim Cuddy, a scary internet meme that stirs up panic amongst all the parents in town, convinced it's making their kids harm themselves and others. The monster starts attacking a teenager named Asha Chaudhry, but her parents didn't believe her, and she was forced to fight the Grim Cuddy alone. Without any further delay, let's get started. The movie begins with Brandon, whose mother has locked him inside his room in order to keep him away from phones or laptops before bedtime. While the mother anxiously goes through the news on the internet about the stressful effects of social media and smartphone internet on children, Brandon climbs out of his room through the window and goes downstairs. It is now that he spots a terrifying monstrous figure right outside their house, and it does not seem to be the first time that Brandon has seen it. The monster soon breaks into the house and chases the young boy with a sharp knife in his hands, and Brandon has no choice but to get hold of a knife from their kitchen. He runs into the mother's room with the knife still in his hands, and as the monster rushes towards him, Brandon stabs his mother with it. On the other side, the teenager Asha Chaudhry is running an unsuccessful YouTube channel on which she puts up relaxation and ASMR videos, but she herself stays stressed about it all the time. Her family, which includes her parents, Amir and Lee, and her younger brother Cameron, follow a routine of spending time with each other one day of the week without any phones or electronic devices getting in their way. On a day like this, the Chaudhrys go to Cameron's school concert, and here Amir learns of an internet meme sensation called the Grim Cuddy and a sick twisted game associated with it. Parents in the community have started to grow concerned about a mobile game in which this scary-looking monster appears and asks children and teenagers playing to complete dare of hurting or even killing themselves or others, and if they fail to do so, this monster comes out to kill them. Back at the house, while Lee tries to relax in the living room, she receives a message with a picture of the Grim Cuddy, and her husband on the other side receives a similar message about the same terrifying monster that he knows about earlier. The monster is seen now outside their house. The two get scared, and like the other parents, Amir and Lee get concerned over this, and they have a word with Asha and Cameron, telling them all about it, and they even show them a picture of the Grim Cuddy monster which they had received earlier. After that, they order them not to indulge in stupid things like this. Both the children promise that they are never so hungry for attention to do things like this. But later on that night, while Asha was preparing a toasted sandwich and watching an ASMR video, the monster breaks into the house and approaches her with a knife in its hands. The girl picks up a butter knife for defense and calls out to her parents. Amir rushes downstairs to find his daughter alone with a knife in her hand, and the police are quickly informed. When the police officer arrives, he questions Asha, then he reveals to the parents that a few other teenagers and kids have also reported seeing the same monster that very night, which seems to be impossible. Both the police and the adults believe that this might all be part of the dares that the Grim Cuddy gives to the players. After that, like an overprotective father, Amir takes away the phone and laptop from his daughter that night. The next morning, the family decides to use something called a detox box to protect themselves from the scary situation. The detox box is essentially just a briefcase-like box to stow away all mobile phones, laptops, and possibly other smart devices to stay away from social media and hence from the frenzy of the Grim Cuddy. Asha tries to convince her parents that what she saw was very real and that the Grim Cuddy monster wanted to hurt her. But the parents still feel that the children trying to make them believe the monster is a part of the Grim Cuddy game, and they want them to stop playing at all. Asha tries contacting her friends from school through a secret laptop that Cameron had kept behind with him, but her father disconnects their house's internet as well. She then sneaks into the living room and breaks into the detox box to recover her phone. Earlier, one of the girls from her high school named Cassidy Johnston had commented on her YouTube video, and now Asha sees that Cassidy has left her a message as well. Although Cassidy is known for being different and unusual in her choices and lifestyle, Asha decides to talk to her over the phone. They discuss how most of the parents in the neighborhood were taking away their kids' phones in order to protect them from the Grim Cuddy, and Cassidy's parents intervened in the middle of the call itself, asking to have a word with her. Asha's father had heard noises and had come downstairs to check as well, for which Asha had to go around the house and was now in the garage when she saw the Grim Cuddy emerge again. The monster chases her, and she again picks up a knife for defense. The Grim Cuddy slashes a cut on the teenager's wrist, and she fights back by stabbing the monster's hand and driving it away. However, as Amir and Lee come to help, they see Asha alone, crying hysterically, with a cut on her wrist and a bloody knife in her hands. The parents obviously believe, now even more sternly, that Asha had hurt herself and was either making up stories about the monster or was indeed hallucinating and seeing something like it. Either way, they want to keep their daughter away from the internet, and they do not want her to go to school the next day either, but Asha somehow persuades them to allow her. The next morning, at school, Asha meets Cassidy in person and finds out that almost everyone is now using the detox box and keeping their children away from social media. Asha finds it strange that so many use the same product, the detox box, and that they were all quoting the same tagline, which happened to be that of the detox box. She now wants to look this product up on the internet, but to do so, she and Cassidy have to go over to a different place since the school also has disabled public internet. Cassidy takes Asha to see a boy named Oliver, as he is having a party at his house with his parents out of the country. The two girls quickly make use of Oliver's laptop and an internet connection to search for the detox box, and they find out that it is sold and promoted by a woman called Melinda Janes on her personal blog website. Melinda's blogs are mostly about either how to be a good mother or about the terrible ill effects of technology on children and human lives in general. And amidst a list of hoaxy conspiracy theory kinds of articles, Asha finds one about the Grim Cuddy game as well. However, this particular blog post had been taken down from Melinda's site, but the two teenagers are now sure that the woman has something to do with their situation. While Cassidy leaves the place to return home, Asha stays back and calls up Cameron and asks him to find Melinda's address for her. Earlier in the day, Oliver and his friends had taken a picture of themselves posing as being under the spell of the Grim Cuddy and had posted it online. This picture, which includes Cassidy and Asha as well, now reaches Amir and Lee, and they immediately rush out of the house, thinking that their daughter is in danger. They drive to Oliver's house and hear Asha's screams as she is once again seen having a difficult time with the Grim Cuddy monster chasing her. This time, the monster catches up to her and lashes a few deep, wide cuts on her thighs and hands, but once again, when her parents come to her rescue, they find her alone with a bloody knife in her hand. The parents now realize that Asha is probably having some mental health issues, and they are about to drive her home when Amir's phone receives a notification. He had installed a tracker in his house to get a notification whenever the home Wi-Fi connection was used, and it now pings since Cameron has been using it for all this time. He and Lee now stress over their children's safety even more as they drive home as fast as they can, and on the other hand, Cameron now starts to see the Grim Cuddy. When the parents arrive home, they find young Cameron strangled with his own necktie. They rush him to the hospital, where Asha is also taken. The next morning, Lee tells Asha that she is about to receive psychotherapeutic help soon. Asha still does not believe anything is wrong with her, and she now finds Cameron's laptop in their hospital room, which their parents seem to have conveniently brought to the hospital for some weird and unknown reason. On it, she finds Melinda Jane's address and drives to the place, while Lee soon learns of this and decides to follow her by herself without telling Amir anything about it. Although it is not mentioned in the film, the initial idea Asha, or even the audience, probably had was that Melinda Janes had created this false frenzy only to sell her detox box for large profits. However, after going to her house and then sneaking around in it, Asha finds out that Melinda is actually a woman extremely tense and anxious about the ill effects of technology on her young son, Brandon. This constant fear of her son having access to everything on the internet had driven the woman almost psychotic, and at present, she was even keeping her young son locked up inside a small closet inside the house so that the Grim Cuddy or other dangerous internet trends could not reach him in any way. Meanwhile, Lee now has a burst of anger and frustration when Asha tries to tell her all this, and then she decides to believe her daughter for once. The two return to Melinda's house and find young Brendan being attacked by the Grim Cuddy. Although Lee does not see the monster, she does see the boy being held by some invisible force up in the air, but Melinda feels that it is Lee and Asha who are intruding into her house. She claims she had successfully kept her son safe for so long by locking him up inside the closet, and it had been Asha who had brought him out into his room. Melinda hysterically tries to shoot the two women, but Brandon intervenes with a knife in his hand and stabs his mother, making her fall down the stairs and lose consciousness or even her life. While Brandon had been intimidated and scared of the Grimcutty monster, he had understood that it was because of his mother that the monster was attacking him, and this is why he had stabbed Melinda earlier too. On the other hand, back at the hospital, Amir now finds Cameron's laptop and goes through the internet search history. And he gets angry from his son. At the same time, Cameron wakes up and is immediately confronted by his father, which means that he gets anxious and starts to see the Grimcutty again. Lee brings Asha back to the hospital along with Brandon, and while she gets busy getting the boy treated, Asha sits alone and mourns in one of the corridors when she suddenly sees Cameron run through it in an attempt to flee the monster. She joins forces with him, as a frenzied Amir is also chasing after them, and she decides to draw out the Grimcutty monster and kill it once and for all. While she confronts her father, Cameron hides in a closet and he is about to be attacked by the monster. However, when Asha intentionally gets stressed and anxious about her own situation, the Grimcutty seems to sniff out the stress and chases after the girl instead. Ultimately, the monster is about to stab Asha, but her father can't see it, he only sees her trying to stab herself. Amir tries to protect her but gets stabbed by his daughter. Both of them run out of the hospital, and Amir now finally sees his daughter getting picked up into thin air. Lee had earlier handed Amir an injection with a sedative, asking him to calm down and be less worried, and it is only now that Amir injects himself with it and faints on the ground. The film ends with Asha making another YouTube video in which she horrifically whispers about how Amir and Brandon have both recovered and how the community will be less anxious about their children's safety the next time. Thanks for watching. If you liked the video, put a like and share it. Also, don't forget to subscribe for more. Have a great day.